Rick Ross leaned back in his hospital bed, the sterile smell of antiseptic still clinging to his clothes. The last few weeks had been a whirlwind of health scares and recovery, but now he was finally free, ready to reclaim his throne. As he stepped into his sprawling mansion, a wave of adrenaline surged through him. He picked up his phone, scrolling through social media. The moment he saw the latest post from 50 Cent and Birdman, his blood boiled. The jabs, the memes, the mockery, it all felt like salt in an open wound. "Not today," he muttered, his voice low but steady. Determined, he called his crew. Within an hour, they gathered in his living room, their expressions a mix of concern and excitement. Ross, with his booming voice and larger-than-life presence, commanded the room. "Listen up, we're not letting these clowns think they can step on our necks while I was down. It's time to remind them who's really running this game," he declared, his passion igniting the crew. The plan was simple: hit them where it hurt. Ross decided to take the fight to social media first, drafting a series of posts that would drop like bombs. With each word, he crafted a narrative that painted himself as the comeback king, using his health scare as a backdrop to a powerful resurgence. As he tapped out the words, the rhythm of his flow echoed in his mind, like the beats of his best tracks. He called out 50 Cent's constant trolling and Birdman's infamous cash antics, turning their mockery into a rallying cry for his fans. The next day, the internet exploded. Fans rallied behind Ross, sharing his posts and igniting discussions that spread like wildfire. But Ross wasn't done. He wanted face-to-face confrontation. He arranged a press conference, a chance to lay it all out in front of the world. As he stood at the podium, the crowd buzzing with anticipation, he felt invincible. "Let me tell you something," he began, his voice booming across the room. "I've been through the fire and I've come out stronger. While I was healing, you thought you could step on my name? Not a chance. 50 Birdman, this isn't just about beef. It's about respect, and I'm here to take mine back." The crowd erupted, and the camera flashes illuminated his determined expression. This was more than a response. It was a declaration. As the dust settled, Ross knew he had struck a chord. The energy shifted, and his fans began to rise up, creating a wave of support that washed over social media. But he was still hungry for a showdown, and he knew just where to find them. A few days later, he orchestrated a meeting at a high-profile music industry event. The venue was buzzing with excitement, but all eyes were on the three icons. Tensions crackled in the air as 50 Cent and Birdman walked in, swaggering with their usual bravado. "Looks like the big man's back," 50 sneered, but Ross met his gaze with unwavering confidence. "Yeah, and I'm ready to settle this once and for all," Ross shot back, his voice steady. The atmosphere was electric as the trio exchanged barbs. What began as a war of words turned into a heated debate about legacy, loyalty, and respect in the rap game. The crowd leaned in, hanging on to every word. In the end, they didn't just clash, they found common ground. They talked about their struggles, the pressures of fame, and the importance of supporting one another as artists. By the time they parted ways, the animosity had transformed into a grudging respect. Rick Ross left the event feeling rejuvenated. He'd fought back against the ridicule and emerged not just as a survivor, but as a leader. As he stepped into the night, he felt the weight of the world lift, ready to drop new tracks that would silence the naysayers for good. And just like that, the legend of Rick Ross grew, fueled by resilience and the unshakable spirit of a man who wouldn't be kept down. With the remnants of the press conference still echoing in his mind, he called an emergency meeting with his team at the studio. Once inside the dimly lit space, the familiar scent of vinyl and polished wood filled his senses. The walls were adorned with gold records and accolades, a testament to his hard work and determination. His crew gathered around, anticipation palpable. "Listen up," Ross commanded, his presence filling the room. "We're going to make an album, my comeback album. It's going to tell my story, and we're going to go hard at anyone who thought I was down for the count." The crew erupted in cheers, their energy contagious. They dove into the creative process, brainstorming beats and lyrics that would capture Ross's journey from hospital bed to comeback king. Late-night sessions turned into early morning discussions, fueled by passion and a determination to reclaim his narrative. Days turned into weeks, and the album began to take shape. Each track was a piece of his experience, raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic. He tapped into the struggles he faced during his health scare, weaving tales of resilience and triumph into every verse. He even included a track dedicated to his encounters with 50 Cent and Birdman, but with a twist. Instead of just dissing them, he invited them to reflect on their own journeys. As the release date approached, Ross decided to throw a launch party that would go down in history. He envisioned an event that would not only celebrate his new music, but also bring together artists from all corners of the industry. It was time to foster unity instead of division, to show that the rap game could be a place of support and camaraderie. When the night of the launch arrived, the venue was packed. Celebrities, industry insiders, and fans filled the space, the air electric with excitement. Ross took the stage, and as the crowd roared, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. "Thank you for being here," he said, his voice steady. "This album is not just for me. It's for anyone who's ever felt like they couldn't get back up. We're stronger together." As he performed the new tracks, the crowd moved with him, every beat resonating with their collective energy. The moment he dropped the track aimed at 50 Cent and Birdman, he felt the tension shift. Instead of hostility, the lyrics evoked reflection. The audience cheered, recognizing the growth and maturity behind the words. After the performance, he welcomed 50 Cent and Birdman on stage. The crowd held its breath, unsure of what to expect. Ross extended a hand to both of them, a gesture of peace that surprised everyone. "Let's end this petty rivalry," he said, his voice booming through the speakers. "We all have our struggles, and we can use our platforms to uplift each other instead of tearing each other down." The moment hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Slowly, both artists took Ross's hands, and the crowd erupted in applause. It was a symbolic moment, a turning point not just for them, but for the industry as a whole. As the night wore on, the three of them shared stories, laughter, and even a few behind-the-scenes tales that had never seen the light of day. The tension that had once defined their relationships melted away, replaced by a sense of camaraderie that felt long overdue. In the weeks that followed, the album climbed the charts, becoming one of the most talked-about releases of the year. The unity Ross had fostered rippled through the industry, inspiring collaborations that had previously seemed impossible. With each success, Ross reflected on his journey, how he had gone from a hospital bed to sharing a stage with his rivals. He realized that resilience wasn't just about bouncing back, it was about lifting others along the way. Months later, he found himself in the studio again, but this time, the atmosphere was different. Artists from all backgrounds filled the room, collaborating and sharing ideas. Ross had become a mentor, guiding younger talent while continuing to evolve as an artist himself. One evening, as he sat in the studio, he received a call from 50 Cent. "Yo, Rick, we should hit the road together," 50 suggested. "A tour, you know? Show them what real unity looks like." Ross smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "I'm in. Let's do this." The tour became a landmark event in hip-hop history, a celebration of resilience and brotherhood. Fans flocked to see the trio perform, witnessing not just the music, but the transformation that had taken place. As he stood on stage, looking out at the sea of faces, Rick Ross knew that his journey was far from over. He had faced adversity, overcome his struggles, and emerged stronger than ever. Now he was not just a rapper, he was a symbol of hope, a beacon for those who dared to rise against the odds. And with each beat, each verse, he continued to tell his story, reminding the world that the path to greatness is often paved with challenges, and that the true measure of success lies in lifting others as you rise.